Democrat Senator Chris Murphy was just caught cheering on America's enemies during a time of war. So on X, Chris Murphy reposted this tweet from Ali Vaez, which claims at least 26 Iranian shadow fleet vessels bypassed U.S. blockade. Chris Murphy only added one word, which was awesome. So on the surface, it appears that Chris Murphy is cheering on the Iranian military supposedly beating the U.S. Navy. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, well, Daniel, is Chris Murphy just being sarcastic here? Is he just trying to poke fun and really rib at the Trump administration? Well, in order for sarcasm to work, the baseline premise has to be true. And it turns out all of this was false. Not only is it false, it's actually Iranian propaganda. Take a look at what they said on Fox News.
Are we letting ships through? Because we're seeing different reports. First, nobody's getting through. Then we boarded a ship that tried to get through. Do you have any reporting that talks about what's really happening in the Strait?
Yeah, the United States is allowing any vessels who are passing through this area to make their way to their final destination as long as they're not coming from Iranian ports. There were some reports overnight indicating that 26 vessels from Iran's shadow fleet were able to make it past the U.S. blockade. There is no evidence of that, and despite what one Democratic senator talked about, there is a concerted effort by the United States to ensure that any vessels that are coming from Iranian ports are turned around or seized, as we saw with that one cargo ship over the weekend.
So, Trey, that was just Iranian propaganda, right?
Yes, absolutely. And the shadow fleet that the senator is talking about is used to directly fund Iranian proxies across the Middle East, including Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah, who are directly responsible for killing U.S. citizens. And so the shadow fleet is a very serious problem. It is not getting past the U.S. blockade, according to all reports and information that we have from the region. But it is a very serious issue that the U.S. Navy says they will crack down on, not just in the Persian Gulf, but also around the world, including in the Indo-Pacific.
By the way, it's not just Fox News. That claim has now been debunked as Iranian propaganda by multiple news outlets, as well as the Department of War. So at the very least, it appears that Chris Murphy was helping amplify Iranian enemy propaganda during a time of war. That is not something we should want from any U.S. representative, any senator. Just an absolute shame. But what's even worse is Chris Murphy didn't even have the dignity to delete that post. That's right, that post is still up there, and instead he's doubling down. He defended himself writing this. Okay, Twitter, I can't believe I need to clarify this, but obviously Trump's bungled mismanagement of this war is not awesome. As I have said a million times here, it's a disaster, and he should end the war immediately. My tweet was something called sarcasm. Well, there is only one problem with the sarcasm defense. Like I said at the beginning of the video, in order for sarcasm to work, the premise has to be true. And the premise here was not true. It was the exact opposite. It was false, and it's even worse than that. It's Iranian propaganda. Here's how sarcasm works. Remember when Joe Biden let 10 million people in through the southern border? They were all vetted. They were all refugees. We're totally safe. Or what about this? Remember when Democrats tried to lock us in our homes for 2 years? Great times. Now, those are two obvious examples of sarcasm because the premise is actually true, and then you follow it up with the cherry on top. That's the sarcasm. But what's happening here is Chris Murphy is attempting to claim that he was being sarcastic about Iranian propaganda that he chose to amplify. He chose to amplify a falsehood in order to hit President Trump, in order to bash the United States and this administration. If he had any shame, if he had any soul, or any respect for his role in the United States government as a civil, as a public servant, he would apologize, he would delete that post, take it down immediately. And the Democrats, where are they? Why aren't they censoring him? Why aren't they demanding accountability? Why aren't they denouncing what he's saying? The reason they're not doing any of that is because the Democrats, well, they're all on the same side as Chris Murphy. They don't care what happens as far as the outcome of this war goes. All they want is to see President Trump destroyed. And in fact, John Fetterman is calling the Democrat Party, he's calling his own colleagues out on all of this. Take a look. John Fetterman on CNN.
A lot of people in my party and a lot of people in the media has turned Iran into the underdog. You know, they're like Rudy and putting them up on their shoulders and cheering for Iran at this point. It's absurd. It's absurd. You know, I'm going to, back, the president. I'm going to back our military in Israel through until that 60-day is triggered. And then there's an opportunity to extend that by 30 days. No matter how many times you're going to vote no, no, no. Why? Because that just has empowered and emboldened Iran to continue for these things.
I don't know what happened, but John Fetterman is just making more and more sense these days. Now, look, even if you are on the fence about the Iran war, even if you're a Democrat, even if you're a Republican who has a few doubts or misgivings as far as what's happening in the Middle East, the reality is we are all on the same team here. So instead of bashing the other side, instead of bashing Trump and the administration, what the Democrats could be doing right now is coming to the table saying, hey, what is the next best solution? What is the best next step so that we can achieve our goals? So that we can protect America, we can protect our image, we can protect our goals and our duty and everything that we're trying to accomplish here. Instead, though, the Democrats, they're not doing any of that. They're not trying to provide solutions. They're not trying to provide any sort of support or new ideas. Instead, it's all, let's bash President Trump or cheer on Iran in this sense, or spread propaganda in Chris Murphy's case. Seriously, that's all the Democrats have going on for them right now. If you take a look at all of the Democrat frontrunners, they don't actually have any new ideas. Their entire platform seems to be, I'm anti-Trump. It's a contest to see who can be the biggest TDS sufferer there is. Well, Chris Murphy was given a chance to denounce, to explain his post, but instead he is doubling down yet again. Take a look. This is him being interviewed in the hallways by Fox News.
Twitter's become kind of a cesspool. I probably should give up on sarcasm on Twitter. Obviously, anybody that's seen anything that I have said about Trump's war knows that I think it's bungled, mismanaged, and he should end it as quickly as possible. But sarcasm is not something, I guess, that's allowed on Twitter any longer.
Do you regret the post? Are you planning on taking it down, or are you going to keep it up?
I mean, I guess I just have to be more careful about sarcasm on Twitter.
Come on, Chris. We all know it wasn't sarcasm, especially online. Usually people will do the /s, sarcasm, or they'll make it really obvious. They'll mess with the all caps and whatnot. But what you did was you helped to amplify enemy propaganda in a time of war, and you're now trying to claim that you were just kidding. You were trying to make it funny. And to make matters worse, you haven't even taken it down after you've been called out on it by multiple people, multiple outlets. I mean, I would be embarrassed to show my face if I were that guy. Now, to make matters worse for Chris Murphy, he really is just suffering from TDS. He was actually in Barcelona, Spain a few days ago, and what was he doing? Oh, that's right, he was bashing President Trump and the United States on the world stage. Take a look at this.
So I am here as a United States Senator, a member of the Democratic Party, and I want to bring you greetings as well from a nation that is in crisis. I'm not going to sugarcoat the gravity of what we face right now in the United States. This is the most significant threat to American democracy since the Civil War. Donald Trump in our country is trying to end our democracy. We are not on the verge of a totalitarian takeover. We are in the middle of it. He is trying to seize control of our courts, of our law enforcement, of our media, of our elections. His goal is oligarchic capture. He doesn't believe in democratic equality. He doesn't believe in shared prosperity. He believes only in the consolidation of wealth and the consolidation of power.
So not only has Chris Murphy spread enemy propaganda, he was bashing the President of the United States during a time of war in Europe. I mean, what an absolute joke. He clearly is preparing to run for president in 2028. I think all of this, the timing is just too perfect for it to be a coincidence. I mean, we see Kamala Harris on her book tour. There was Cory Booker yesterday trying to scream like a Temu Obama. I mean, the Democrats are all trying to make a name for themselves. Pete Buttigieg, and here Chris Murphy, I think, clearly giving a speech overseas, bashing President Trump. He's attempting to gain some sort of momentum, gain the attention of big Democrat donors. What I love, though, about that clip is if he had given that speech here in the United States, the Democrats would be silent. They would be oh so solemn. It would be so quiet you could hear a pin drop, or in some cases, they might even cheer for him. Oh, yeah, you speak truth to power. You stand up for all of us. But over in Europe, they're all talking. I mean, did you hear that in the background? They were talking. They were on their phones. No one was cheering. It was like, who the heck are you? Why should we care what you have to say? Unfortunately, though, this isn't just limited to Chris Murphy. Similar to what John Fetterman said, this really is an issue that's plaguing the entire Democrat Party. And Democrat Adam Smith, I almost wanted to say Adam Schiff, but Adam Smith actually revealed something that I think is really telling. But before we get into that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Jeremy 2001 Happy times 3, RL 1401. Again, Bob, thank you. Very generous of you. Lisa H, Anthony Loki, Jenny Rankin, Brittany, Cindy Nelson, and Dennis Nevin. These are people who give tips and super thanks to the channel. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you enjoy. Well, on MS Now, it doesn't matter because really all the Democrats believe this, but Adam Smith revealed that he actually believes the terroristic, the radical extremist regime of Iran more than our own White House. This is from MS Now this morning.
I would think it quite likely that Iran will not show up and negotiate because what they've said about where negotiations are at has turned out to be a lot closer to the truth than anything coming out of the White House.
So you believe Iran over the White House?
Well, I wouldn't put it that way. I would put it exactly the way I just put it.
Well, the way you just put it is also the way she put it. She just used different words. I mean, sometimes Democrat brains, the logic just doesn't compute. It makes no sense to me. It's just an absolute joke, and they really should be ashamed for themselves. They always jump to the worst possible conclusion when it comes to President Trump, rather than actually evaluating all of the possibilities. And that's why the Democrats have been behind for the last 10 years. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That is what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So what do you think? Do you buy the argument that he was just being sarcastic with his post, Chris Murphy? Or do you think, like I do, that he's too prideful, he's too arrogant to apologize and delete it? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Truly, if you think he's being sarcastic, if you think that there's any other reading of this, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts because I just don't see it. And quite honestly, I am a little surprised that after all the backlash, he still hasn't, folded, that he still is deluding himself into thinking that he can come out on top here. I just don't know what he's thinking. I have no idea who's advising him, but he needs to get new advisors. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.